sales and production rates are going to get you into a spot where now you can hire somebody. If they are 80% as efficient as me, then it's going to take X amount of budgeted hours per lawn or per 1,000 square foot to do this. So now you know exactly how to price these lawns, but now you know that no matter who you bring in, if you can train them to the Spence's quality, you are going to be able to just move that needle quicker than what we were able to move it.
All right. So today we have Spence, and he's down in North Carolina. Spence, thank you for joining us. This is a different kind of coaching call because we have back in the day, just so you guys know, obviously, in the younger days, I used to play a lot of beer pong. Okay. So just so you guys know, but we used to call it the celeb shot, where you would take somebody and they come in and they'd shoot that celebrity shot. They would get one shot. Well, Sam is doing our celeb coaching call here. He's jumping on in. So thank you, Sam, for joining us.
Of course.
But Spence, give us like maybe 20, 30-second snapshot of where you're at in business, and then we can dive right into the questions.
All right. So this is pretty new, all things considered. I've been doing it on the side for about 5-6 years. Wanted a new mower, thought I'd catch less flack if it paid for itself. Before I spent $6,000 on a toy. That led into a nice little side hustle. Full-time job went under. Was out of work midsummer. At the time, I had 12 whole yards, just enough to keep me busy a couple evenings a week after work. And that was it. That covered all my hunting money, my daughter's travel volleyball, and some gas money or whatever now, and all the cost of doing the business. And then when the job folded, I'd said, you know what? I'm already doing my next job. I learned a bunch of stuff watching you guys teaching people how to do things years ago. And now I've been watching a lot of videos and around this whole green industry, influencer, if you will. I don't know what y'all want to call it, but mentoring about how to grow businesses. Right. And it doesn't really matter if you're talking about cutting grass or selling cars or whatever. Business growth is basics, is business growth. So that's where I am. Started off with about 12 yards on the side. And then about the second week of July, started ramping up and ended up at a whopping 42, which isn't much. But when you went from 12 to 42 in the back half of the season, when we didn't get any rain for 6 weeks straight, it felt like. I was pretty impressed with that. Lights are still on. The internet's still working, so something's going good.
Absolutely. Well, that's incredible. I mean, going from 12 to 40, definitely in your first full year, going full time. I guess like what would you say is maybe like one of the biggest kind of constraints? So I'm assuming it's probably just you, right? Like you don't have any
currently,
members yet, but like what do you think is the biggest kind of bottleneck that maybe, Sam and I can help you out with to get you to that next level?
Well, I had a whole bunch of questions typed out here on my notes app. And then on the way home today, I listened to your conversation with Bree. I don't know when that happened, but y'all answered a whole bunch of my stuff in talking to her. But, just I wanted to really try to be a one-stop shop for people as much as I can be. My goal for this next season, I've got a part-time helper, a kid that helps me from time to time. I'd like to get him in at least one evening a week after school. He's a high school kid, just to try to stack up in some of those cookie cutter neighborhood, yards where I can get a whole lot done between school and sunset. But just really, what's the tipping point? And I know that's different between age and fiscal needs and things, but what's the tipping point for growth? I guess that's my, talking to a whole bunch of people. I'm sure it's just a number, but I think on paper and on my dry erase board, I'm good for about 65 to 75 yards. But I'll be 54 in June. And my wife's not so happy with me being out there doing that. So my goal is to, over the next couple of years, to try to roll this thing up to where I don't have to be out there as much, more of a GM role, things like that. I'm waiting on my books and to sign up for the next class for North Carolina chemical application licensing, and trying to get into all of that. And I had a bunch of questions on that, but thanks to Bree, I have some direction. I was going to ask you questions about sprayers and all this stuff. And nope, just going to keep pushing granulars. So yeah, I guess that's my kind of a question. Like, where's the tipping point to where you suggest that people team up and grow up, I guess?
Sam, do you want to take this one?
Yeah. Spence, would you say that you're above average or below average with sales?
I've never had a sales job as far as like things like I grew up in the chef and kitchen manager world. Other than that, I was in the Navy, worked on radar systems. And then for 14 years, I sat at this desk, doing red box work, running service teams. But so far, with the little bit of sales I've had some influence on, I think I haven't had a lot of get off my yard chats with anybody yet. So it's the phone rings a lot. So
yeah,
I guess that's one area where I could work on.
Yeah. What I've found is you don't need to be like a sales wizard in this industry. You just kind of have to be intentional about being quick to solving people's problems. That's kind of, you're not calling somebody trying to give them something that they don't need. A lot of
Right.
times you're just answering a call and they're asking you to do something. Now it comes down to, can I convince them of the price? And that's all that it is. And a lot of the times the convincing is done with how quick you answer the phone. It's done with how professional you look and your equipment looks. It's a lot of the, what's it called? Nonverbal communication is a lot of the convincing that it helps provide that value, because there's two ways to get a yes. You can either have perceived value is higher than the price, or no, there's three ways, but we're not going to get down that because I can get on a rabbit hole down that. But to what's the tipping point for growth? I think first, Spence, you have to figure out, you have to have what's the ending point. You have to start with the end in mind. And sounds like your wife doesn't want you cutting yards when you're 50. You don't look, for a Navy guy, you don't look too bad.
Thank you.
I will say, you don't look too bad. One of the better looking Navy people I've ever seen. Us Army guys, we're always looking good. But yeah, I think you just have to get up to 500,000 as fast as possible, and just kind of communicate that with your wife. And so from
Right.
0 to 500,000, hey babe, it's going to be sales and fulfillment for me. After 500,000, you can now focus on hiring and getting systems and compensating people well to where they want to stay on with, because at the stage of life that you're going to be when you get to that 500,000, I'm 32 almost, and I feel really old after a day of mowing, just from Army and mowing. And so this is a young man's game, a
Yeah.
much younger man than I am game, as you'd probably know that better than me. So you don't need my advice there. But
Right.
going from 0 to 500,000 would be the move, and then ultimately trying to build it to where you can just collect distributable cash in pursuant of going from 500 then to 800.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and to add to that, Spence, so what I would say is a lot of people probably around, yeah, I mean, once you get up to like 75, probably like 50 to 75 customers, they get kind of stuck in the trap of like doing the work. And
Mhm.
like to really grow and scale and get it up to that next phase, which is like 300,000, to where you have like a couple of trucks, 3 to 4 employees working for you. To get to that stage, you have to, like, in the mind, like, start to shift over from like doing a lot of the work and getting the routes done, and being like, I have to replace myself with somebody that can get the work done, so it frees up my time to go and sell, like
Right.
Sam is talking about. And a lot of people don't, they frantically, and me being one of them, and it's not a bad thing, but I'm like, how the heck do I pay for like both of our paychecks if all we have is 60 customers, and I go out and hire somebody and they can do 60 customers? What the heck am I going to do? And it's like,
Right.
that's when your gear, you get backed up into the corner, and it's like the only way out is forward to sell and to get another 60 more customers so you can fill another route for you. And you know what I mean? And so like, a lot of people get kind of stuck in the hamster wheel of like doing the work a lot.
Right.
So just really kind
Well,
of separating that.
yeah, that's one thing I definitely want to avoid. Again, like Sam said, I'm not 32. I'm kind of starting over at this thing. I know that if it doesn't grow to the 500, then I'm limited in time just because of elements, right? It's just, me being out there at, when it's 147 degrees outside isn't as fun as it used to be,
No.
or as healthy for me as it used to be. But I know that, math is fun sometimes, but I know at 60 to 70 yards, I'm earning better money working 9 months out of the year than I was, the whole year sitting here for the full-time job. Plus, I'm not just looking to mow the yards. I want to get into doing some fertilization. I know I want to do. Well, I found this call a couple weeks ago when I saw your how to earn money in the off season, doing all that. So I mean, that's already changed some of what I'm going to do for next year, and that'll be a value up. And so things like that. And one of the other things I got to do pretty quick is I need to, and this is some advice for anyone who might see this. If all you've got is one mower, one blower, and one weed eater, and you're the only dude earning money for your family doing this, that's a world of hurt when any one of those three things go down. I mean, a blower and a weed
100%.
eater, you can pick one up. If you're buying expensive stuff, it might be a $500 or $600, quick run to the store, but you may not even be able to do that with a mower, and the place that services, it's a skag place here locally, and they don't have loaners, not for me anyway. Maybe they do for folks that have, 15 mowers or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I got to I do need to get some more gears. That's on my list of things to kind of earn up for next year too. So
Are
Yeah.
you inherently like competitive, Spence?
with myself, yes, I try to, I'm always trying to be better than I was yesterday. I'm not necessarily trying to be better than all the guys cutting grass down the street. I do. You're talking about sales. One of the things that I do try to compete with is the quality of my work, the value that I bring to what I do on people's property, and that I'm not just going to cut your grass and take off. I'm going to take a few minutes to talk to you if I need to. Brought dinners to people for their, when they were in the hospital or kids were in the hospital, stuff like that. So it's not, I mean, it's not, competition, but I do try to purposefully bring that to the table so that I'm the value add when I'm competing against the guys down the street. I do bring that to it.
Yeah. And that's kind of the answer I was looking for, is like you're competitive with yourself. You want to set a goal and like you'll be damned if you don't accomplish it. Another qualifying question is, do you have like any pension from the Navy or anything?
Just my retirement and things from over the last few years. No, I didn't retire from the Navy. I did 7 or 8 years and got out. There's some VA stuff going on, but other than that, just my 401k really.
Okay. Gotcha. Because I was going to change a few different like tips I gave if you were receiving any sort of like VA disability or retention, because that would be a lever and a throttle you could leverage really good. I ultimately think that I don't know much about your geographical area, like how big your property sizes are, how many people are there, stuff like that. But I think that what you would need to do is you need to have like every single move needs to be intentional. And what I mean by that is I didn't start tracking production rates until 2.5 years into business. I only focused on just getting jobs on the schedule. You almost need to like be precise and be intentional on the aspects that truly move a needle in a business. And I think sales and production rates are going to get you into a spot where now you can hire somebody and you can confidently say, if they are 80% as efficient as me, then it's going to take X amount of budgeted hours per lawn or per 1,000 square foot to do this. So now you know exactly how to price these lawns. But now you know that no matter who you bring in, if you can train them to the Spence's quality, you are going to be able to just like move that needle quicker than what we were able to move it, because we didn't have that intentionality starting off with. I would also suggest, because I'm assuming you didn't do a whole lot of marketing in this first year. It kind of sounds like you were surprised that you got to 42 customers. And so,
Yeah, really all I did is I got into the town talk here.
Mhm.
And when somebody would say, hey, I'm looking for somebody to cut my grass, 15 people would post up and saying, hey, call Sam, he's my guy, or call Will, he's my guy. And I'd said, I'm Spence with Spencer's Lawn Care. How can I help you? And then my
Yeah.
phone would ring. I tell everybody that will listen to me about it, get you a Facebook page. Doesn't have to be super active. Get you a website. I don't even care what it looks like. Just have something. And if you're on any one of these CRMs, most of them give you a soft landing page. I use Jobber currently, but so there's a page built into that. But your Google business profile. That's I ask everybody that if I don't have your number in my phone when it rings, I say, how'd you hear about me? Google, 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 Google. So something's right. Something's working for there, which scares me a little bit, knowing that my personal, I'm like I said, 65 to 75 yards. If I grew that much on the back half of the season, what's this spring rush going to look like? Maybe I need to turn my phone off at some point, probably.
That's kind of where I'm getting at, is to kind of bring everything full circle. Is it might be a good move if your capacity is 60 yards, you're going to get to 60
Right.
customers. You're going to get to 60 customers within the first 2 weeks of spring rush is
Right.
what it sounds like. So what I would be doing is I would hire, I want to say, hey, forget the high school kid. Let's hire somebody full time to come in next
Right.
year. And I'm going to leverage, you have a 90-day sales window between mid-March and like mid-June, where you have to your focus needs to be on sales, sales, sales. If you but if you don't take advantage of that 90-day window, you're shooting yourself in the foot for the rest of the entire 2025 season. And so it kind of comes down to a talk with a spouse or family. It's like, hey, these 90 days, no vacations. These 90 days, I might have to work till 6 p.m., but I'm setting up the rest of this year due to these 90 days. And then you hire that full-time person, probably try to bring them in February, get a few lawns in when the grass ain't growing as crazy. But that would be to put a whole bow on it, is you have to compete against yourself in those 90 days. Come up with a goal saying, I know a two-person crew, let's say a two-person crew can handle 120 customers. It is my goal to get a 2-person crew out of this next spring rush, and have an even more audacious goal. Say it's my goal to get a second truck. I'm going to be the solo operator, and I'm going to have a 2-person crew as well. So now you have 1.5 crews out there. And that's going to be your goal for that year. That's going to take you to about 250 to 300,000 a year in revenue effectively at, a crew and a half, about $100,000 per revenue generating employee.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Gold.
that's tracking with with my math. So that's not hard to understand.
Yeah, because the other thing too, Spence, is like typically what I have found is year 2 is when things start to like really pop off, right?
100%.
The first year, you're kind of getting things incorporated, people kind of hearing your name. Obviously, hopefully, if not, you have this stickers on the truck with some vinyl signage. But year 2 is when things really kick off because they've already seen you for 6 to 12 months prior. And so that's really gold advice what Sam said. Like that 90-day window is the gold rush, not even the spring rush, it's the gold rush.
Last thing, and then I will have to jump off, and then sorry for bombarding this coaching call. I appreciate you guys having me. I would almost try to get a full-time employee, but then leverage that high school kid to go do door hangers, because door hangers is also a young man's sport. Like, I have ADD and I have bad knees. I'm not trying to walk 100 houses an hour to go put up door hangers. So use that high school kid, and then you are just going to be on phones. You have to literally tell yourself in that 90-day window, Spence, if a phone rings, I don't care if I'm meeting with the president of the United States, I'm answering this phone call. And because especially in those 90 days. And so you're going to have a full-time person handling all lawns. So if you get 10 phone calls while you're on a property, at least somebody's there getting production done, and you're focusing on sales. And then you have that high school kid going and driving those phone calls in. I think that would, and pay him, I don't know cost of living around there, but you could probably pay him $12 an hour and then an extra $10 per lead that you get. And so that way, if you get like probably like a 70% close rate, what is that customer acquisition cost there on the commission? $15 added to customer acquisition cost if you just get them a $10 commission per lead that you get. And so that's going to incentivize them to not go throw those 100 door hangers in the trash can and say that he did it. Right. So I think that's the game plan before I have to jump off, is hire a full-time person to help you out in the truck. He's going to be your helper. Leverage that high school kid at $12 an hour plus $10 per lead, and order like 10,000 door hangers for the spring. And then your job next spring in those 90 days is going to be, you are the assistant to your full-time person. You're his helping hand, but your primary focus is going to be sales.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's great.
That'll
Great
get you
advice.
to about 300,000. Then that following year, you could get that to 500,000 within the next 2 years. You really could.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you and your wife can go do what you got to do.
We go back to Mexico for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Why not? All right. Well, I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys later.
Thanks for jumping on, Sam.
Good night, man. Appreciate it.
See you, Spence.
We'll see you. Okay, so yeah, and then the other thing that off the top of my head, Spence, is like, so I know you said you were doing lawn services, and there was another service that you said you were doing as well.
Well, I'm looking to get certified here in North Carolina. You have to have the chemical application license, and to get into doing some, again, because when I first got into this, I was like, look, if you want the perfectly striped yard, I'm not your guy. If you just want to be one of those people that just wants your grass cut so you don't ever have to think about it, call me. Then over the years, as I geared up a little bit and learned up a little bit, I got a little more picky about it. Well, I realized there's a lot of money to be had in the who cares yards. I just like having the really good looking yards.
Yeah.
And I'd like to be there to where I can do where weekly cuts only, but you have to be a full service customer. But and all of these, I don't care who you talk to, you got to be at capacity before you can get picky. That's when you raise prices. That's when you can throw these gauntlets out there of, well, if you don't take my fertilization program, then I'm not going to cut your grass. But if you only got 3 clients, then that's your whole board.
Yeah. Got to do what you can to pay the bills.
But I'd like to get into that. I've had some quotes and stuff for some hardscaping, and I don't know where people are buying rock and mulch, but it ain't where I can buy it, because I'm not like a little bit off on some of these. I'm like thousands of dollars off and things. So I don't know that stuff, so I'm staying out of it. I just want to focus on what I'm doing. Keep it simple. Keep it up. What you're saying, grow it simple or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously in the military, they're I think they say, keep it stupid simple.
Yeah.
Or keep it simple, stupid, but I don't
There
like
you
that
go.
one because then
Yeah.
you're technically calling people
Since,
stupid, and we don't wanna be calling people stupid. So,
yeah.
yeah, just keep it stupid simple, very, very simple. That will actually scale better than doing a whole tons of things. But honestly,
Simplicity scales. That's what you said in the thing.
yeah. Dude, the weed control, phenomenal service. Phenomenal
Mhm.
service. 35 to 40% profit margins. Just I mean, it goes hand in hand with mowing. And then those type of clients are the ones that actually get the mulch jobs and the ones that
Mhm.
actually want their bushes trimmed. And so yeah, there's a great market for it. I think you going and getting licensed and getting that will separate you from the, chuck in a truck per se
Mhm.
of anybody that's just starting mowing. You really get that next level of education, and then what that does is it allows you to bring better value to the customer, because now you can
Right.
explain to them when they have a disease in their lawn, or what type of grass type works best to grow well in the shade, because not
Right.
all do. We have Bermuda grass down here, they put it all in new builds, and
Mhm.
then when the trees get old and the canopies are really like big, it's very shaded underneath there, and then it thins out and it's dirt. And the customer's like, well, why do I have dirt? Us being able to bring that knowledge and that value to them is what will separate you from a lot of the others.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, especially since COVID, I mean, there's always been a lot of people out doing this job, but now, I mean, you see so many people driving around. Anybody with a truck, a trailer, and some basic gear from even Walmart, is out, and they're a landscaper or they're a lawn artist or whatever. So, but I tell everybody there's tons of work. If you've got some of that Walmart gear and you want to go get some yards, here's how I got them. I'll give you some. Here's some of I've got, when I first got started, I bought the mower, and on the way home, I called a couple of my dudes that I knew cut grass, said, hey, you got some crap yards you don't like that are wherever. I don't care. I don't care if I got to drive 45 minutes between them. I just need to cover $200 a month. That's it. Right. I've got some yards that some kid that wants to cover $200 a month. I got some yards I could throw at him just so I can get more into these neighborhoods and things, with the density.
Absolutely. That's why I love the green industry, man. Like, so many people are, just honest people that are willing to help.
Hmm.
When I quote unquote call it the competition, which I don't look at it
Hmm.
as competition in my
No.
territory. I'm like, hey, we can help each other out, because literally in the spring rush, our phones are all ringing off the hook, and we're not. There's calls that sometimes we miss, right, in the spring rush, and it's like we're so busy. We can help each other out. And if one person does hardscapes, you can send them those. Once you get licensed, the person that's not licensed can send you the weed treatment clients. Like, so I think it's really good to befriend the other landscapers in the area. Never know when
I,
you need their help.
yeah, I got stuck on I'll stop and help people all the time, but I cut for a property management company to do some work for them, handyman and lawns. They had this yard that had like I don't know, it's like a half pipe. I don't know if you ever were a skateboarder, but it was like it was like one of these. And I'm at the top of the hill looking down over Duke's, my mower, that's what I call him. And or looking down the hill and going, well, what's the worst that could happen? Right? It's downhill. It's not uphill. That could be worse. And then wasn't even paying attention to the cable wires coming down from the telephone pole 3 feet to my left. Went down the hill halfway through, went, this is stupid, and tried to turn a little bit, ended up right into the wires. So then I'm having
Oh
to pull
man.
my mower out with a tow strap. Three separate guys stopped to help me pull the mower out,
Wow.
and so there's a lot of them running around, and a lot of good hearts out there. There's a lot of crappy dudes out there too, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you didn't
But
get hurt on that. That's a big thing.
yeah, well, they finally sold it. I cut it for about 4 months, and they finally sold that property. I was like, yes, no
Yeah.
more.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Spence, is there anything else? I've got a few more minutes here. Is there any other, like, maybe bottleneck or kind of pain
Well,
point that you
so
foresee?
so one of the things that Sam brought up was about a marketing question. I've already got two or three different door hangers kind of already in the works, right? I'm a production guy and do the marketing, or not marketing, the creative stuff at church. So me and Photoshop and Canva, we have a love relationship sometimes. So I've already got those kind of worked out. But one of the questions I had is, like I said, I mentioned earlier, I'm on Jobber now. I've been using the free version of Copilot for, I don't know, this whole season up until I decided to go with Jobber, mostly because it was a little bit cheaper, right? And I like the UI a lot. But then I realized that it's cheaper because it doesn't come with the marketing package. That's kind of an add-on. Whereas Copilot came with all that stuff. It just didn't have the routing. And so at my stage, I really wanted the routing more than I wanted the marketing. So here I am. So within those sorts of systems, do you advise people using those features? I don't know if you're, what kind of CRM you're using, but because I think the jobber thing for the all-ins, like another $70 a month for referrals, Google ads, and then the marketing, which is their version of MailChimp, like as I understand it.
Yeah, I'm not like fully educated on the jobber side of things. To be honest, we haven't. I've never used Jobber. I've
Right.
used Yardbook, I've used Service Autopilot, and I've used Copilot. Currently, right now, we do have both of our locations using Copilot. So that is the software that I am extremely familiar with.
Right.
But no matter what software you use, you definitely want to make sure that, it has the best options for what you're wanting to optimize for. The reason why we picked Copilot is I really like the KPI dashboard from running a multi-location business, which is our goal, is to build businesses that run without us. I found it very, very attractive to do that. I also like the fact that there's texting that incorporated with that. We've used that this year, and I will tell you what, I don't know if Jobber has it. If it doesn't,
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
okay.
I'm on my way. I'll be there. And I think it knows kind of where you are, and it doesn't default to 5 minutes. It'll, like, if I'm 15 minutes away, it'll come up, I can just hit on my way notification, and it'll pop up, and I can change that if I know I got to stop and get gas or something. But even now, it doesn't have like a two-way, maybe on the next plan up it does, but it doesn't have like a two-way, interface, but it does have some texting features built in.
Are you able to send like a mass text out and be like, hey, it's
Well,
Spence, we're doing bush trimmings this month?
Not without the marketing add-on. I don't think. And I don't know what they call it. I'm in the middle plan. And I thought about doing that, but it's, Google reviews. I think that's like, if you just want that, it's like $39 a month or something. And then there's a referral, and then there's the whole marketing thing. And I think all of it's about $70. Either way, you're going to spend about $200 a month, so.
Yeah. $70 for the texting marketing thing, to me, especially during the busy season.
Right.
Even you got what, maybe 60 customers ish, 50, 60 customers. Like Sam said, by next spring, you're going to get bombarded with calls.
Right.
You're probably going to have 100, 120 customers, and then hopefully have, a few hundred leads in there that maybe haven't booked with you yet. But dude, for $70 in the growing season, you may want to turn that on like in March or March-ish, right? When the grass starts to grow and stuff. And every month I would send something out. Hey, we're let's say you got license in weed control. In February, before the grass turns green, people are going to see their weeds everywhere. I'd send an upsell out. Hey, we're offering weed treatments. March, it's mowing. April, it's bush trimming. Maybe next month it's de-weeding beds. But that will make you in one mass text out, marketing text.
Right.
All you got to do is pretty much land a job or two to make that $70 back.
Yeah, that's the way I looked at it. Even spending, the $100 to $200 a month, on whichever package, I was like, just to make my life easy, I'm tired of chasing people down for $40. Because and we all got started in this. When the first year I started, Cash App, Bitcoin, Venmo, you name it, I took it. And then at the end of the month, I'm like, did Will pay me for 2 weeks ago? I don't know. And finally, I was like, I lost thousands of dollars probably over the years. I've just gotten fed up with it and said, oh, paid. And whatever it looked like, whatever my notepad, Google Sheet, whatever it was, right? But so far, like while I was in the backstage, is that what they call it here in this StreamYard?
Oh, yeah.
I was backstage. I generated 3 invoices and sent them out. I love it. So yeah, that's I didn't do it yet because I really wasn't even going to get out of the free version of Copilot until closer to season. And then I did something dumb. The thing, and added taxes and push the cards on file feature with my last actual scheduled week. That's a bad time. Don't tell people not to ever do that. Not without sending an email out first, because now all of a sudden, why is there 7% tax on here? I got, like, I don't know, from what did I say, I had 42. I got from 41 people all in the same week. So
yeah,
hey, they all paid it. So
there you go. There you go. Hey, we got to follow what the IRS and the government say.
That's right. That's right.
Got to pay the tax, man. So
yeah,
cool.
Caesar gets his slice, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, any last minute things here, Spence, or
I'm just
um,
looking. No, like I said, you're in Breeze chat. I had some specific questions about like fertilization gear and things like that, which steered me away and answered another question if I should get into some, some fertilization specific equipment or maybe buy the second mower or an aerator because I rented an aerator this year, and the stand-on aerator was money compared to the push aerator that I had used a month before that tried to kill this old dude because that was not a fun 3 or 4 days or however long I had that thing. But the Stinger, man, that was nice. I like that. But I think I'm gonna gear up so that I can hire up some people and have some redundancy in case something goes down. We can still go earn money because right now, if my mower goes down, I'm out. Right, unless I got a buddy of mine that'll borrow one. And that's my wife's worry. Isn't that I can't do it. Isn't that I can't talk to people like you and get good advice and make good decisions, and hopefully they pan out in a productive and profitable way. But if I'm sitting at the light, somebody takes me out, and T-bones the truck. Not that I'm gone, but if I'm just laid up in a hospital with my feet in the air with, broke legs or something, then there's no money coming in. So
yeah. I think next year you'll be at least at one employee. I
yeah,
mean, otherwise, I mean, you're gonna get tons of calls in the springtime, especially if you have the signage on the truck. And then that mower you said is a ride-on. It's probably pretty
yeah,
expensive.
I've got a Skag stand on.
Yeah. So even with that, even let's just say if that mower goes down for whatever reason, I mean, it might be out of commission for a week, maybe with the dealer.
Yeah.
Even then, I mean, as unfortunate as that might be, you could just, text the customers, hey, we had a setback this week. We'll be
Mhm.
there. We're going to skip you this week. We'll be there
Right.
next week. And most are accommodating. All 42 of them aren't going to cancel on you because of that.
Right.
And the ones that do are probably the ones that we're probably going to cancel anyway. So
Right. Right.
there is some flexibility with that. Now, obviously, if a truck goes down or something like that, you could always rent one from
Hmm.
Home Depot or something for a couple of days or
Right.
something like that. But yeah, if you go down, obviously in the hospital, that's you're in the weird phase right now where you just got to grind and like really focus on sales. Like the only thing
Right.
that matters is your close ratio and getting more jobs. That's it. Like
Right.
it doesn't matter if you lose money, you break even. It doesn't, like, literally, as crazy as that sounds, because I was in there in the beginning and I was like trying to rub my pennies together to make dollars.
Hmm.
Like it doesn't matter. What matters is selling the next job. And as long as you can do that and make another sale the next day, you will grow into it, and then you'll be able to hire more people. And then that's when it starts getting fun, because then you start to have to grow your leadership and stuff like that. And at least it doesn't all fall on you at that
Yeah.
point. You've got a couple of people that come in and mow for you, and yeah, it'll be good. You'll be there.
Sales fix everything.
It does. It
I
cures it. I'm telling you, all the problems that happen in the business, if it literally stems down to making more money. If we can make more sales, you're good.
Yeah, in the restaurant, everything was cost driven, right? Everything. And there are times I could have taken entire cases of filet mignon, and if we had such good sales, it didn't even matter. Like we could eat them, didn't we would lose them, didn't matter. And there are other times if you dropped an extra ramekin of ranch on the ground, you saw your needles move, you know. And if you're out here doing everything you can trying to provide for your family 30 to 100 yards, and if you don't have the sales there to back it up, then it's rough. Like you said, you can rent trucks, you maybe even borrow a mower. You can't borrow extras of use very quickly.
Right.
So
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, sounds good, Spence. Yeah,
yeah, man, I appreciate it.
you guys, I'm confident. I mean, you already have 42 customers. So, and
Hmm.
that was like you starting late in the year. So
Yeah,
it's
that was starting in
literally,
the screw you sick part of the season.
yeah,
It was great.
yeah, just dial in those door hangers come spring. Like Sam said,
Hmm.
hire somebody for 15 an hour or something like that,
Hmm.
just to go and hand them out. And it's crazy. It's crazy. Start do that a couple weeks before the grass starts growing,
Hmm.
and do it for the next month or two, and you will get a lot of calls. A lot of
Yeah, I've got a couple plans for some specific neighborhoods, and again, thinking pretty small. There's 1,200 houses between those two neighborhoods. If I flyer all those and I just get 20 to 25 yards between the two neighborhoods, and that's 2 days of just me. That's 2 days of work. That's
Yeah.
10 minutes from the house. That's awesome. But that's another half a week of another person. That's how I got to look at it.
Yeah. Absolutely. You got it, man. You're gonna go out there and crush it. And appreciate you coming on. And
hey, man, I appreciate you offer this. This is a great thing. I saw that, and I even paused the video. I didn't know what video it was. Oh, it was your don't do this in the off season, how to make money. I paused it at the end of that and grabbed my phone off the charger. It was like 3 a.m. laying in bed, and emailed you. I was like, man, this is awesome. And so thank you for the blessing of doing some of these calls and offering up some of your time, man. Because I know I appreciate it. I'm sure other people will too.
yeah, absolutely. And that's my hopes. Obviously, this is not paid or anything like that. And to be honest, even like on the YouTube channel, I'm literally I go backwards every month. I have a video editor. I pay him $100 a month, or no, $100 a month, $100 a video.
Hey.
Yeah, no, $100 a video, and we literally go backwards every month. Like we're not making even like with the training course, but I literally do it to hopefully help people like you and the people that literally watch this, because I had that given to me, and I want to extend it forward. You know what I mean?
Awesome,
so,
man.
but yeah, really, thanks for jumping on, Spence, and yeah, you're gonna crush it. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
All right, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the time.
All right, you're welcome. I'll see you.
See you, dude.